What if the very thing you're asking God to remove is the very thing he's using the most? When we're in the book of Philippians, Paul's in prison. And instead of saying, God, get me out of here, he says the gospel is advancing. So how do we get there? Hey, welcome to 10-Minute Bible Study. I'm Pastor Joe, and my goal is simple: to help you understand the Bible deeper in 10 minutes or less as we go verse by verse through God's Word together. And today, we are in Philippians chapter 1. We're going to go through 12 through 18. So let's read it. Verse 12. It says, I want you to know, my dear brothers and sisters. Again, when he says dear brothers and sisters, he's talking to Christians. That's where that we're at right now. That everything that has happened to me here has helped me spread the good news. Think about that. Everything that has happened to me here has helped spread the good news. What's the good news? The good news of Jesus Christ. He's talking about the gospel. The gospel has been advancing. And this is where we need to know that the Bible, the way that we're reading this right now, as an understanding in my life, a setback can actually be strategic. Like, think about this. When he says the things that has happened to me, this is a gentle way of him saying, hey guys, I've been arrested. I'm chained up. I'm under guard. I'm facing possible execution. That's what he says. He says, everything that's happened to me, he's got some bad experiences that's happened to him, but he said, but it has helped me to spread the good news, the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, right? And we need to know that when there's another translation that instead of it just saying like to help me spread, it says to furtherance. I think it's in the New King James Version. It says that. And that term is a military term, and it means advancing forward despite obstacles. Like understanding that is what we're called to do, because you're going to go through hard things in your life. I'm going to go through hard things in my life. And hard things don't mean we're doing something wrong. Hard things could actually mean we're doing something right. And there are times that we are going to go through difficult situations, obstacles, but we got to keep moving because we are advancing the kingdom of God. It's the picture of cutting a path through a dense forest so an army can move forward. That's literally what that furtherance means. And here's the thing, like when we even read this, verse 13, for everyone here, including the whole palace guard, knows that I'm in chains because of Christ. He's in chains because of Christ. Like imagine you're the church of Philippi. Like you remember Acts chapter 16. You remember Paul singing in prison. This isn't the first time. This isn't the first time that this has happened to Paul. Matter of fact, he's been arrested multiple times. So you know the story of the earthquake. You know the story of the jail cells flying open, the doors flying open. And so you're thinking, well, why didn't God do that again? But here's the thing. God did not waste his imprisonment. During this season right here where we're seeing he's in prison, Paul wrote Ephesians. He wrote Philippians that we're reading right now. He wrote Colossians. God did not waste his waiting season. Let me encourage you, he's not going to waste your waiting season either. He doesn't waste our waiting season. So a question for you to ask yourself is, where in your life right now feels like wasted time? We may waste it by complaining, but God never wastes a season. When we start switching our mindset from complaining to anticipating. Paul was anticipating. Look what it even says, right? Spread the good news for everyone here, including the whole palace guard. Think about the palace guard. The guards of the palace, they know why he's there. They're hearing the gospel. And it says, knows that I'm in chains because of Christ and because of my imprisonment. Listen to this. Because of my imprisonment, because of my arrest, because of my suffering, because of the things I don't want to do. Instead of me spreading my ministry and going from city to city and planting more churches, instead of that, I'm in prison. But most of the believers here have gained confidence. They've gained confidence because now they can see someone who's going through hell and how he is pushing through and still saying, it's all for Christ. It's all for Christ. It's all for Christ. It encouraged others. Listen, I just want to encourage you. There could be a season that you are in and it feels like hell. It feels like you're in prison. It feels like nobody gets it. Nobody sees you. The people that you thought you could trust on aren't there. But when you rely fully on Christ, on Jesus, it will inspire others to say, how are you getting through this time? And that's when you're able to share your testimony, your story, to say, this is exactly how I get through this time. All right. It says, knows that I'm in chains because of Christ, and because of my imprisonment, most of the believers here have gained confidence. Listen to this, and boldly speak God's message without fear. This is so important because, again, when we go back to like the palace guard, like when he's talking about prisoners or believers that are in prison, believers that are out of the prison, Paul is encouraging them both. Okay. But in the prison, Paul says that even the palace guard, right? So when you think about it, he's like, listen, not only am I encouraging the believers, but the palace guards who are chained up with me, they're hearing about Christ. Like these were not church people. This was not you and me. These were elite Roman soldiers. But here's the thing. These dudes can't get away from Paul. They got to be there chained up with him. So they couldn't run. And guess what they had to listen to? The gospel. And in times like this, it's easy for us to get down and thinking, woe is me. But Paul said, oh, look at those around me. Look at those that I can actually minister to now. He gained a captive audience. So a question for us, even as we're reading this, like, who might God be positioning me in front of because of the limitations I'm going through, because of the season I'm in? Who's in my radius now that I can actually share my faith with, share the gospel with, encourage, pray for, connect with? This is where we have to go, again, beyond the four walls of the church, beyond just our comfort zone. Matter of fact, the other day I was talking to one of my neighbors who goes to my church, and she was literally at our other neighbor's house, and she came up and she told me, she said, hey, yeah, I'm talking to her right now and letting her know, because she's really busy. Hey, I can take your son to church with me. And inviting him, and her son plays with my kids a lot. So there's already a connection there. But that's the mindset to have of like, oh, like who's in my proximity that I can minister to? And well, again, because somebody in your proximity that you might be inviting to church, busy season, all the stuff, but is there somebody in their proximity that needs hope, like this woman's son? And so this is where we can get as Christians, right? Like not letting fear, because again, look what he said in verse 14. Because of my imprisonment, most of the believers here have gained confidence and boldly speak God's message without fear. When people saw that Paul was suffering but steady, they found courage. Joy cannot be rooted in happening. We've talked about that. Happiness is based on what's happening around you. Joy is rooted in Jesus. And Paul's calm under pressure made other believers braver. Let me tell you, your endurance is preaching something to someone. Your response to suffering is discipling someone. So you got to ask, who's watching how we handle our current situations? What does that look like for us? Okay, let's jump to verse 15. It's true that some are preaching out of jealous rivalry. You know what? We're already almost 10 minutes into this. I think right there, I think we need to break this up. Let's go into another. I'm going to do this in another video, because when it's talking about preaching out of jealous rivalry, there's so much to unpack in these next few scriptures about what that looks like, because this is what I'm going to talk about in my next video. Now that I'm thinking about this, it's easy for us, especially in our world today with technology. You're watching me right now, right? To point out what other preachers are doing and saying and the negativity, because, oh, well, look what they're wearing. Look the car they drive. Look at their following. Some people get mad about that. Too many people following. Anyways, Paul talks about what the main focus is. And I'm going to go a little deeper on these people who are even preaching with not pure motives. Because Paul says, he's like, listen, if Christ is preached, that's the main thing. So I'm going to jump into that in the next video. I know some of you are going to be like, no, just keep going. Hey, I said I'm going to try to do this in 10 minutes or less. And some people even told me, they're like, hey, just say it's 10 minutes, on pastor's time, Pastor Evelyn from our church, we say she runs on football time because, like the last few minutes of a football game, like there's 2 minutes left in the game and it ends up being 20 minutes. So she's like, yeah, just tell people you're running on football time. So anyways, hey, if this is helping you at all, definitely hit that subscribe button and share this. This is the whole point of this, is for all of us to be growing more in the word, asking questions, see how it really impacts us, how we can change. And then I have a reading plan below for you. You can click that and go along with this as we're going through Philippians, you learning, again, reading the Bible yourself, seeing what the Lord is showing you through his word. But I'm going to see you, okay, the next video. We're going to do Philippians chapter 1, verse 15. So you can jump ahead, go ahead and read 15. We'll say 15 to 17. Cool. No. 15 to 19. So go ahead, jump in that, and I'll see you at the next video.